I'm an American painter painting Americans. They're everyday people doing everyday things. The tradition of portraiture has become a way to reclaim time for me as a Black figurative painter that paints Black people. The work really deals with interiority and steps away from the idea of a public Black self. Public Blackness has been culturally codified as something that's always attached to resistance, which essentially to me limits our humanity and the ways in which that we can imagine ourselves existing. I oftentimes say that the paintings are a resting place for people to see a reflection of themselves that is not in resistance or contention. It's just a Black person just being a person.
A big part of her practice is that she'll pick people off the street, mainly in Baltimore, and she'll take photos of them, or she'll invite them back to her studio and take photos of them. And so they literally are everyday people sort of doing everyday things. And I think that's felt through the work.
It's very intuitive, and I can be driving down the street and I can see someone within an instant, I know, and try to connect with this person to let me use their image.
It's almost like she's scouting the perfect subject. She's looking for something that connects to her almost on a spiritual level. It's not necessarily about any one physical quality.
Once I start the painting, it really becomes less about them and more about my work and what I see and what's happening in my imagination and the archetype that I'm trying to create. These people have let go of that idea of being watched, and they're there to meet your gaze in a different way. And it's a critique on historical Black representation, whether it be in photography or painting.
You can't look at, Amy Sherald painting and not see some of the formative photographers from James Van Der Zee. You also kind of imagine what Frederick Douglass was, talking about when he's talking about, the possibilities for photographs to give African Americans back their dignity at the time.
Black Americans were using photography as a means to assert who they are in the world, thinking about photography as a democratic medium that allows one to disengage in a socio-political power dynamic that places Black people, Black bodies on the margins. Photography became a way to sort of reclaim that. And I think that that's what is happening in Amy's practice.
Historically, portraiture has really been a marker of time and place, this sort of space for who gets to be historicized. She really distills the figures in her paintings in a way that they're sort of floating in their own realm.
I think there's a great power in representing people who have often been told that they are disempowered, often been told that their lives don't matter, often been told that they are not this or that, on a canvas, and allow them to see real reflections of themselves, right? And I think the effect that has is that it allows other people who are not, represented in the frame, but who might live similar lives as the people who are represented, to say, oh, I matter too, right? To say that, there's something about my likeness, about my life that should be reflected, that should be respected.
At the end of the day, Black bodies are political. Like, we're just political. History is political. That's the battle. There has to be some relief from that, or we can never evolve as a people. The work is, for me, like the beginning of trying to figure out a way to deal with that political body versus the real person.